Hello guys, I hope you're doing good. In this video I will run you through basic PowerPoints. So PowerPoints are some of the questions that you'll encounter in academic writing. You'll be required to do simple presentations. So in this video I'm just going to run you through basic PowerPoints. I know you have advanced PowerPoints, but those are not common in academic writing. Basically, in academic writing, you'll be required to make very simple slides without a lot of animations and all that. So this PowerPoint I made recently, so I want to redo it with you together. So this was I just picked up a basic design. So this was the title: Prevention of New and Recurrent Cases of Acute Pneumatic Fever and Pneumatic Heart Disease by Brule Regional Aboriginal Medical Services. So this was the presentation, that was the title. So you can just scroll through and see the slides I had. So the first one I had background and overview. Basically, you might be given instructions on what to include within the slides, or you can decide yourself what to include. So for presentations, it's always good to include a little bit of pictures and just use a little bit of non-text information, because you don't want to overwhelm your readers. Remember, this is one you're going to present to people, so try to reduce the number of words you're using on your slides. But again, you'll be given instructions on how to go about that. Sometimes they may not need you to use images or any sort of form of art, graphs and all that. So depends with the question, but in this case I just felt like it's good for me to include these pictures. You can see here included a graph. Actually, I did not really do this graph from scratch. I just plucked it from a document, and you can see I've cited it accordingly. This I also say the source. These pictures I got it from some website, so I also say the source where I got it from to avoid plagiarism. So you can just see how I approached it. You can see my slides and everything. So usually the last slide is supposed to be the reference slides. Again, you also have that, just like the way you've been doing. And then something else you can also take note of is that I have speaker notes. So when I present this, the people my audience will only see the slides, but I can also, me as a speaker, I see this part. So in every presentation, you have a small space beneath the slides where you put your speaker notes. So you'll be reading here while your audience will be only seeing the slides. So you may also be given instructions on whether you need to include speaker notes or not. So if you are wanted to include the speaker notes, you just paste the speaker notes here. So basically, every slide in this case had speaker notes. So every slide has speaker notes. So everything that is covered in this slide is included in the speaker notes, explanations and all that. So just be careful that when you're doing so, when you're using speaker notes, you do not include speaker notes here for information that are in the next slide. So everything that you've given in this speaker notes should be what you have in this slide, so that whenever you're speaking to your audience, they can actually see what you are talking about. So speaker notes are just for you. I don't know if I can present, I don't know if it will show, but if I had connected let's say maybe HDMI or a projector, the speaker notes will pop up, but in this case I don't have that, so we won't be able to see the speaker notes. But maybe I can do another one with the speaker notes so that you can see the speaker notes, but in this case we only have that. So remember, if you are told to include speaker notes, do so. So these speaker notes are just an explanation of what is covered in the slides. Remember, slides you only use short notes because you don't want to overwhelm the audience with a lot of text. So just use short notes. They are usually not complete sentences because you have the speaker notes to explain those sentences and those points. So I'm just going to rework this out. So let me just copy this title because I don't think I have it anywhere else, and then I just close this presentation. So usually, depending on the amount of work a presentation requires, I might have to start with a script. I just write down my points in Word and then I transfer them to the slides. I like doing this because when I type everything in Word first, it allows me to check plagiarism easily. I can also run the file through Grammarly very easily. Remember, Grammarly does not accept formats besides Word. So if you are already typing straight away to the slides, you may not be able to check the plagiarism vizuri, na pia you cannot even check the grammar issues. So I usually type everything on my as a script, and then from this now I can just pick points to include in the slides, and all other things I just put in the speaker notes section. So you can also try this if you feel the slides are long and you have a lot of information, or the guidelines like you need to have speaker notes, and maybe the presentation minutes. Remember, we have the 150 words per minute rule. Like if you're told to write a 10 minutes presentation, to do a 10 minutes presentation, you need to be looking at 150 words per minute. So that should tell you that for a 10-minute presentation, maybe you might need to have around 1500 words. So in that case, it just makes sense for you to type the 150 words first in your Word, check plagiarism, check grammar issues correct where necessary, and then now transfer the points to the slides. So I've already written this because I didn't want to start from scratch. Really, it would have taken a lot of time to prepare this tutorial. So I already have my script. So you can also do the same, and then you decide that depending on the number of slides you're looking for, you split and decide how many words will go per slide. So in my case, I decided that the background overview will go to one slide, and this will go to the second slide, and then of course the aims will go to the third. The role I split this into two, so they go to slide 4 and 5, and then slide 6, and then slide 7, and then this one will go to slide 8, and then slide 9, and then my references to slide 10. So that's how I decided. So you can decide yourself how you want to distribute your script to the various slides. So that's how I distributed mine. So from my presentation, you could see that I used a picture. So let me just launch my PowerPoint. So once you launch PowerPoint, sometimes it suggests design. If you're connected to the internet, it can suggest some designs here that you can use. But if you don't want to use these designs, just use your own design. So you can just, but try to be as simple as possible. Don't use designs that are not professional. Usually you can just maintain the default black and white design, but usually I like using I think I've saved up this one. I like using this. Okay, let me just pull it up again. I like using this one. So I just paste here my title, but I need to do some settings so that I make sure the title is not centered, and I also make sure that alignment is from top. So I just paste that, and then you realize the font is too big, so I'll have to reduce my font. So I highlight everything, but you can just click this and then try to see if it changes automatically. In this case, it doesn't. Let me just reduce to maybe 28 and see if it fits. So that's still too big. Let me try 26. Yeah, that fits. So you can adjust these boxes. You can just adjust the boxes accordingly. Then here you can write the author information. Maybe the name, institution, and then maybe the date of presentation, and all that. So once you have this, you can just add a new slide, and it will automatically just add a new slide. So in this case, I like making adjustment to my slides. So let me just adjust it. So I can just adjust by moving this up and then adjust the box again. Then I want to make sure that I use font that is, let me say 28. I want to use 28. So once I have this, I also select my bullet. I prefer using these ones. So once I have this, I can just duplicate this slide. I can just duplicate the slide so that I don't have to do that for every slide. So In fact, you can create your own template. You can just have a template in your machine that you'll be using for all your presentations, so that you just make slight modification depending on the question. So let me duplicate. I need around 11 slides, so I'll just continue duplicating. So let me just stop there. So my second slide, I decided to put a picture. So when you want to insert pictures, just click here before you start typing anything. But let me now download the picture where I got it from. I got the picture you saw. This was the picture. So let me just save it to my desktop, preferably my desktop. And then once I have it saved, I can just click add a picture, and then it will open my Windows Explorer. I go to desktop, then I can just add it. But here I realize it's too small. That's what I realized. The picture is too small. Again, it is not fitting well, because even if I stretch it, it will look weird. If I stretch it to fit, it will look weird. So I decided to split the picture into two. So I just added two slide. When I wanted to add slide, I added two content slide, so that I have the picture in two sides. So I just modify this and also modify this, and then I went to my picture, and what I did, I just cropped it. So I'm just gonna crop it up to until this position, then save a copy. So let me just call it one, save it to my desktop. And then I also go back to it and crop it again, the remaining part. But this is not common. If you don't want to use images, it's okay. So I'll crop the other remaining part and save a copy. Then just call it 2. Then again to my desktop. Once I have that, I can just go and pick one. Go back to my slides and click here. I want to pick 1. And then here, I want to pick 2. So once I have this, I can just now readjust so that it fits well. You can even stretch it a little bit to make it appear bigger. Stretch it a little bit. Also do this, the same for this. Once I have this, of course, this one I'm supposed to type here background and overview. Then it depends how you want it to look. In me, I prefer bold facing it and then just centering it so that it looks like a title. So I have this. So this information is what is contained here. Basically, describe the description of that image is in this paragraph here. So what I want to do, I just want to copy this and paste it in the speaker notes. So I'll just click the speaker notes. You can see here, just click notes. It will open this space. You can just paste it. And just paste. Where is my paste option? Just paste the information there. So I've pasted the information here. So when I'm presenting, I'll be reading this, which will be explaining what I have in these slides. So again, remember to add the source. So you can just insert a text box. So insert a text box. You can just draw a text box beneath this. And then you write the source. So you can just write where you got it from. So for me, I got it from, was it RHD Australia. So you can even put in the URL where you got it from. It doesn't really matter, but as long as you identify where you got the information from. So I wanted this to be my first slide, so I'll just delete this so that I have that as my first slide. So the second slide, I wanted to include data from Kimberley region. So I'll just copy that title and paste the title here. So I said my titles, I want them to be bold and centered. So here I'll decide which points to include. In this case, I want to say to pick, let me just say, nearly half of people in the Kimberley region are non-indigenous. I'm not sure if that is correct spelling. So I've just gotten a point from this area, this part. Aboriginal raising boom suffer alarmingly. So so I just want to take that point. I think this is something to do with misspelling indigenous. So I just pasted that. I say I'm just picking out points from my script. Also pick this point. Incidence of these two diseases. So incident among Aboriginal children, among the children age. So I reduce too much words so that I don't look. I'm filling up a lot of space. So pick this point. Just pick the most important points to include in the slides, and then everything else you can just leave it in the speaker notes if you are allowed to do that. Some presentations they will not need speaker notes, so you can put full sentences in the slides. Just put everything in the slide, but make sure you also shorten. Don't just put longer sentences as usual. Try to just make sentences contain meaning, but as short as possible. Let me pick mortality rate. I feel that is also key. So I'll just pick that, and I think I've covered all the crucial points that I wanted to contain in my slide. So I think I'm good to go to the next slide. But before I do that, I just need to, you can just, if you feel after putting that you still have a lot of space, you can adjust your font. Maybe make it 28.5. Let me just 0.5 and see if it fills up. Yeah, this actually makes it fill up better. So once you have that, just remember to now put the speaker notes. So I'll just copy the entire paragraph and paste it in the speaker notes. Then I go to the next slide. Remember, I should have adjusted all this. I think this one is not adjusted, so I'll just delete and use the adjusted one. I want this to contain this aim of the program. So I want it to be bold and centered. So again, here I pick out the points. So I'll just start there. So I pick all the, I think it's important. Previous efforts to eradicate these diseases have been futile. Explain. So let me just say due to full colon. Then I just want to make it this a sub point. So you want to make this a sub point, just make sure to use the tab key. So if you use the tab key, if you tab, just click tab, it will make it a sub-point of the major point. A combination of part of the problem has been the lack of. So let me just delete all of these so that I don't have a lot of things there. So let me just add that citation that I had indicated. This was another reason. Focus. The current program brings, let me just copy this and then I'll just make it. So here I want to return to major point, so I'll click shift and tab to make it a major main point. So let me just adjust this a little bit. So I'll just paste that and say the current program brings closer to the people and builds on, just get rid of this. I think that is okay. Let me just return the way it was before. Now that I have this complete, I can now go and pick out everything, that entire paragraph, and also insert it in the speaker notes. So we can go on and on until we complete, but that will take too much time. I hope by doing the 2 slides you can already know what you're supposed to do. So in case you don't get it, you can just rewatch the 2 slides how I've done it. So you can just continue doing that, until you get it. You can just continue completing the slides. So the role of nurses. So if you want this to be in 2 parts, let me just complete this. So let me just say they are a part of multidisciplinary teams, blah blah blah. They work to understand they can offer I want to put this as a sub point to just make sure this slide fills up. They can use the experience to design, so that it's just under this, and then I just copy this. Remember, in this case I'm not copying the entire part of the role, because I want this second paragraph to go to the next slide. So I'll just paste this there and then go to the next slide, and then just say role of nurses continued. So since this is not a major heading, I'm not going to center it. I'll just leave it here, but I can just bold it because it's a continuation of the previous part. I think I hadn't adjusted this, so let me just do that, the adjustments. I need to be 28. 28 is the most visible, I think. You can, but some need to be 30. But don't use a font smaller than 28, because if you're presenting using a projector, font 28 is the fairly visible one. If you're using smaller font, it may be hard for your audience to see. So we are assuming this, you're learning, as much as you're not really going to present, maybe just an assignment, you're going to get marks for doing the good thing. They want you to use the font that you'll use when you start doing the real thing. Yep. So let's see. I'm just gonna copy all of this because I think I was more direct in that respect. In this case, I was more direct, so I'm just gonna copy this. I need to make them separate points. So I'll just separate them into points. I think from here I had not really worked my settings because they don't apply. So let me just delete this and click enter. What else can I do? They are on the ground and paste that, and are the most suited. So let me just stop here for this slide. So I'll just go back and make sure that I have this entire paragraph in my speaker notes. So I'll just copy this, Control C, and then I'll use Control V to paste. So I have my slides half done. So let us see how we are doing. So we have this. So you can see already that is in place. Yeah. So you can continue to do the rest, but let me just stop here. I hope by doing those few slides, I've already demonstrated how you can add pictures. You can even modify the slides if you want to include the comparisons. We have many things you can do. You can insert a slide if you want to compare things, comparison. So maybe advantages of something, and then here you will talk about disadvantages. So you can do this, that you are comparing two things. Maybe here you're talking about autonomous cars, and then here conventional cars. So you can have that. You can modify as much as you want, as long as it fits the purpose. Yeah, you can really do a lot of things with slides. So I want to demonstrate something else. So let me just delete this excess slides. So the last slide should be your references. So you should have your references here. So I'm just going to bold it. So let me just adjust this up to that point, and then adjust. Then let me pick I prefer using this. So let me just pick out my references. So just pick out of all of them and paste it there. So just paste it there and you're good to go. So the differences, the font will appear small, of course, because you can't make it big unless you want to split references into several slides. But I don't find it necessary to split so that you have a bigger font. Nobody will be reading the references, really, just documenting that you consulted some material, but it's not really that important. So let me save this. I haven't saved, so I'm gonna save it on my desktop. Remember to always save your work, because something can happen and you lose your work before you submit. So at this point, I just want to do a bit of animations and transitions. So you can add transitions. So transition, I like using for the first slide, I like using reveal, and then these others I'm just gonna select all of them. I can use fade. So it fades, one slide fades into the another. Let's see how it looks like. So reveal, that's how it pops up whenever I start playing in slideshow. So you can see it just disappears. It's slides fed into one another. So I like making it simple, but you can see some people can use very complicated transitions. Let's try and see if we can change this and see how it looks like. So it was to use, let's say, dissolve. So if I'm on slideshow and I click this, the first one will show, the second one, that's how it appears. This one is so complicated, it's not professional. So for professional presentation, just use fade, or just leave it without any transition, because it's a professional thing. So if you make it so complicated, it just takes away the professionalism in it. So don't use this weird transition, just use simple like fade, or even just leave it at none. You can use fade, or let me say wipe. Wipe is also simple. Push, let's try push and see. So push, basically slides push each other as they come. So let us try push. So when you click slideshow, this is how they appear. So you can see that's how the slides appear. So that's what people see during presentation. So this is how they appear. So you can consider using that. I think that's not so complicated, but fade is my favorite. I just use fade. So that's one of the things you can do. If you want your points to appear one by one, you can also add transitions on them. You can add transitions so that you click, you say this point appears, let me see, on mouse click or after several minutes. So on mouse click, so let's see. So you can add animations. So you say that you want to this one to fly in, maybe fly in, and then you designate this one flies in on click. So you don't need to click after previous or on click. So if it's after previous, of course you have to set the duration you want it to appear. So it will stay on the point one for some time and then skip to the next one after the set time. But if you want it to appear on click, just select on click. So if you slide show, you have to click for the first one to appear. So click, so they appear one by one. So you can also do that, they appear one by one, and then after the slide is complete, go to the next slide. So you can put that, and also try to make it simple. Some people, they want the animations to, let me see, which one did I animate? This one. They want the animation to appear so weird. Let's try like this spin. They appear like they are spinning. The ones appear like they are spinning out of I don't know where. So I don't think that is very professional. So you can see that's how you can do it. It's really not necessary. I shouldn't be teaching you this because I'm saying it's not necessary. So so you can do all of that. You can animate, but do not overdo it. Just use the same. If you want points to appear one by one, just let them fly in or fade. That should be enough. Yeah, and then you set that each point should come on a click. So when you present, you have to click for the first one to appear, and then you describe, you explain your points. Then you have to click for the next one to appear. You also explain it if it's necessary. But if it's not necessary, but in most cases in academic writing, it's not necessary to put all of that. It's really unnecessary. But if you're doing it for your job, you could just use some of those things. But there are quite a lot of things you can do. Yes, and then you can also change the design. Once you're done and then you feel like the design is not what you wanted, you can just modify. So you can select the slides you want to change. So let me see, you can change to this, you can change to this color, you can change to this, but of course after changing the design, the font might appear smaller, so you need to go back and adjust the fonts. So let me see if I just work with this one. So if I was gonna change, I'll change to that. So after I have done this, you can go back and readjust to just so that it just fits in well. You can readjust that. Yeah, so you can actually change the design after you've completed, depending on what you see. If you don't like what you see, you can just go back and change the design, do all the adjustments. Yeah, you can add pictures here. You can just go and crop up, drop a picture, something here. You can do all that. What else? You can just come back and readjust this. You can see it's not showing properly. One is over the other. You can just do these adjustments if you want. Yeah. So you can do a lot of things. You can even change the text color. The text color, if you don't like black, you can just go and change the text color. Let me see. You can just change the background color. I mean, if you didn't like, you can just change to blue. You can do a lot of things. Text color, where can I access my text color? Yeah, but it's not really necessary to do all of that in a presentation that you're just doing for a student. So just keep it as simple as possible. There's also another thing that you can do. They can tell you to add a narration. So we have software that can change text to audio. So if you want to add a narration to this presentation, you need to copy this text and use a text to audio software. So one of them I use is MP3. So this one, but this one in a limit, you can only use 1,000 characters in a day. If you want more, you pay, but you change the network. If you change the network, una restart. So if you have Wi-Fi or VPN, once inakwambia ushajaza limit yako, just change the network, change the IP. So you can change here the sound, the voice you want. So I like using Matthew English. So I'm just gonna paste my text there and then read.
The Kimberley is a vast, remote region in northwest Western Australia, WA.
So
the region has a population of approximately 38,000, and nearly half are Indigenous people, particularly those identifying as Aboriginals. Davis et al., 2014. Aboriginals residing in Broome.
So I've already downloaded the audio that I want to insert in this slide. So once I've done that, I can just go to Insert Audio, and then from this PC, and then you pick the audio in my download folder. So the audio, then you can just move it up here. So when you click slideshow, it will automatically play.
The Kimberley is a vast, remote region in northwest Western Australia,
so you can do that.
WA.
You can actually just put the audio in all slides, and then you convert the slide into a video when you are file export, and then you export into a video. So it becomes a video with audio and text, the way they are flying in and all that. If it's necessary, you can just do that, and then you have your presentation. So I hope you like this presentation. If you have any questions regarding creating basic PowerPoints, reach out through my social media handles. Those who have my number, you know what to do. So until next time, stay safe.